I think you had just gotten out of the building, correct? The trash man
Yeah,
had
we
worked his...
wingsuit.
Right, so you... Oh, okay, yeah. So you had just wingsuited out. Sorry, I'm separating a few games. Right, so you were in the TYB building. You were at the 97th floor. You broke open a window in the corner office that had one of the few that actually had exterior facing windows, and were you had security in pursuit. You blocked the door, headed out, and you had just leaped out the window. All right.
Right.
So backing up just a tiny bit, the so Trashman, you were in the bathroom, and you had finished. You'd finished dropping the data payload that you needed to drop into their server on that floor, on the network that you were requested. You found it, you dropped it, and then you had packed up. As you were packing up, I believe you started probably hearing gunfire over your comms. So during the firefight that they were having, you were already on your way out, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think that's basically where we're going to pick up. Right, so the firefight's already happening. So a little bit back before the firefight happens, you guys haven't actually wingsuited out as Trashman was packing up. Did you? What gear did you have with you?
Me? Just
Yeah.
the cyber deck.
Okay, so you were pretty much unencumbered. Just the cyber deck was the only thing you'd brought in.
Right.
You have no weaponry or anything.
I do, but I left it.
Okay, so that's in your van.
Right.
All right. So let me. Sorry, my windows are in the wrong places, so I gotta find it. Here we go. The Is this all in the wrong spot? Here we go. All right. So on your way out, you think, how do I? Sorry. The Discord issue is spreading itself to other things. Everything is acting really strange. All right. I think I'm good. Except I lost a window again. Oh my gosh, this is frustrating. Give me 1 second. Okay. I think I found it. All right. So you start packing. You drop the pay data. You pretty quickly jacked out, and you start getting ready to pack up, rubbing your legs, working your way out of the bathroom. What do you do? How do you work your way out? Do you just go straight?
Go straight.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I probably stop at like a shop or two and just look interested before leaving because I'm kind of in a hurry to get to the van and get to like the drop point where I pick them up.
Right. Go ahead and roll and act under pressure. Okay. What was that roll?
7.
Got it. So with a 7. Okay. So you are going to, as you're going out, you're trying to be calm about it. You're trying to not not let anyone notice, but you feel nervous. You're kind of jumpy. You're gonna be able to make your way out of this without anyone noticing, really. But in some way, you're kind of looking. Something is gonna almost go wrong. So describe how you get out of here. There's security guards kind of semi-inspecting people. They're a little less a little less subtle about it than they had been before, and they're every once in a while stopping people and asking to see credentials at times. Anyone who looks potentially suspect. So describe your way out.
I probably just bump into a guard on the way out or something, and he like eyes me up as I like leave the building.
Okay, so on your way out, you go down the escalators, you round to the second floor, to the first floor. On the way out, as you're going out, there's a couple guards who are actually scanning people on the main entrance. And as you're going through, you're getting more nervous. A little bit of sweat starting to form on your forehead. You felt like you were ready for this. You felt like you wouldn't be nervous at all, but it's getting just close enough that you feel like you're out, but you're pretty nervous about it. As you go out, one of the guards kind of calls out to you, hey you, and you try to ignore him, and you walk by, and another guard, as you try to kind of tuck to the left and avoid him, pretending you didn't hear him, you bump into another guard. And the other guard, he turns and grabs you by the shoulder and asks, hey, what's your name?
I just remove his hand from my shoulder and walk out of the building.
Okay. He doesn't force you, but as you walk out, you hear the sound of a radio like kick in, like a, and you hear him say. So you can't really tell what he says because do you have cyber ears? You
No.
do not. Okay. You can't tell what he says because he's the crowd. It's pretty crowded. There's a lot of people funneling in and out, and you're bumping through people, but you hear him saying something in like under his voice, and you can pretty much assume that he is calling that in some way. You work your way out. Onto this. Go ahead.
Once I get outside the door, I stand outside the threshold and I just like straighten my jacket and push my glasses like back up on the bridge of my nose and like staring at them while I do it, and then just walk to the van.
Okay. Roll a fast talk.
I didn't say anything to him.
Yeah, but you're still trying to be convincing.
I wasn't I was being anything but convincing. I was more so just like sticking my chin out at him.
Okay.
A 9.
All right. Okay, so he lets you go. He doesn't really move to stop you, and you're able to, if you choose to continue walking. What direction do you walk?
I don't know, whatever direction the van is in.
Okay, so you head off it's to the right, actually. It's like to the right a block and then to the left up a block. So you head to the right toward along the sidewalk, trying to blend in with people, and you don't seem to notice the guards following you. I'm not saying they are following you, I'm saying you don't notice that they actually start following you. They don't seem to follow up on that. And you work your way to the intersection, cross the street, heading up towards the garage, and heading into as you come inside of the garage, the foot traffic starts to thin out a little bit. This area is a little less densely populated than the other areas. Roll and assess.
That's a miss.
Okay. All right. So you turn the corner, you head into the garage. It's basically, there's two ways to get in. There's like the area where pedestrians walk, and then there's the area where the cars would actually drive. And I assume you kind of go through, you don't just take the shortcut. The shortest way would be straight through the area that the cars drive in and out, but then there's also a pedestrian walkway that's a little slower, but is where most people would go. Which of those two do you follow?
The more trafficked one.
Okay, so people are mostly following the pedestrian one, although there's not that many people going in and out of this garage. You head into the garage and you do a quick check. You know where your van is, so you head to the spot where your van is. As you get up to the van and put your hand on the van, you suddenly hear like a loud over a loudspeaker. It seems like someone yelling "stop," and you see behind you 3 heavily armed security guards in kind of ambush positions in the garage. And also, you hear kind of the whirring of machinery, and you hear kind of like metallic footsteps, like heavy footfalls on the concrete. And you notice to their left there's a some kind of, you haven't really seen one of these before, but it's like a four-legged robot of some sort, and it does have like on the right side of it what looks like a pretty large gun of some sort. What do you do?
I just get in my car and or my van and take off.
Okay.
They can chase me if I want. I have to meet the rest of my crew.
All right. Okay. So you go to open the van, and they all level their rifles directly at you, and they yell to stop again. And you continue.
Well, this is kind of a lose-lose situation I've been put in, so yes.
Just
Okay.
gonna keep going.
Yeah, what else am I supposed to do?
Well.
Get arrested and make a new character? I'll try and
He has
escape.
nothing on you. He's like completely ignoring everyone. I mean, if they'll take you into for questioning, just, don't say anything. They can't arrest you for doing nothing.
I don't speak English.
Yeah. All right. So, I mean, yeah, you do have your radio. You could also communicate with the rest of your team, where you don't know where they are, but that's one option. But okay, so you continue to grab the handle, and you start pulling it open, and you hear the rifles. You hear the rifles lock, like you hear the slides click, and then you also hear the whatever the robot is. It's in a robotic voice. Says it calls out halt. You have 5 seconds to comply. And yeah, do you continue getting into the van?
Yeah, I don't really know what I'm supposed to do here, so
All right.
I'll just get shot up by them, I suppose.
Okay, roll a last act under pressure.
Two.
Okay.
Oh.
All right. So, as you pull pull your handle and pull it open, you open the how does it lock? Is it just a physical lock? You have to actually unlock it with keys, or does it just know?
I'm guessing just like how it would be like currently.
Okay. So basically, there's a keypad on the side. You just you push in the number. You've got there's biometrics available, but what you have is a pretty basic lock. So you fumble with that. You start pushing the numbers, and you pull the handle, and you hear one shot ricochet off the concrete near you, and one of the officers again yells, "This is your last chance." And but then another one, hearing the gunshot, you actually you hear another shot fire, and then you just get hit by it feels like you got kicked by a mule, and you are knocked pretty much to the ground a few feet. It knocks you back a few feet from where you were, and let's see, that would be 2 points S harm. Are you wearing armor right now?
No.
Okay, so roll the harm move with a +2 for the 2 S harm that you just got hit by. 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, so with a 9, I choose 1, and I already chose that. Apparently, you lose your footing. So yeah, I guess I should have had you roll that before I said that you got knocked back. So yes, because of the 9, you actually get hit by that. It ends up being, it's basically like a beanbag type hit. It's a non-lethal round that just slams into you and knocks the air out of your lungs and throws you back. You're gonna have a pretty good bruise on the side of your ribs where that slammed into you, and you are on the ground. And you have 3 officers. And you notice now there's a fourth guard that was kind of in a flanking position to your back and left behind you. Your van is in front of you. 3 of the guards are to the right, just around the van. The robot, whatever it is near them, and then there's the guy back into your left. And you are kind of stunned on the ground. Okay. And you're not doing anything else, are you? Or what would you? How would you respond to that?
I'd get back up in my van. Like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do in this scenario, honestly.
Okay.
That I've
All right.
been.
I think you can call for help on the radio. Maybe a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of sucked all the life out of it, so I don't really care. Whatever.
Okay. All right. So I guess the three of you are. You've just leapt out of the building. You are 97 floors up, and you're diving out. Wind flying past you. Where are you trying to land?
So I think Trashman had told us that he had a spot picked out for us to land on, like a parking structure or something.
Yep.
So we'd be going there if he doesn't radio us a different location.
Right, and it sounds like he's not. So, okay. Where was that location? How far out from the parking garage was it?
I'd say it's like a similar distance beyond the parking garage he parked in, like that distance again further away. So a couple of blocks.
Okay. So in the time, basically by the time he was where we just left off from him, you've probably gotten down near that location, and you're just trying to come in to a point where you can actually get a decent landing. All three of you are pretty... Yeah, all three of you would be pretty good at this, so you probably don't need to land. And the landing isn't anything tricky, so you don't need to roll to land. Okay, so you make it to that point, and you find that you are alone here. You don't have the driver that brought Mailing and Riser here is not here yet. No one called him in to have him pick you up, and also Trashman is not here. And you did expect, because he bugged out a bit earlier, you expected to see him here at this point.
Okay, can we tie in on the radio?
I mean, you have a radio that goes to all four of you, so you can, like, you could try to contact him. You could try to, I think you could probably track each other through it. I think you should be able to get general location.
I can't talk now.
Well, you're not unconscious. You're just knocked onto the ground and kind of semi-stunned. But
Surrounded by people who can hear me on the comms.
yeah. But they're subdermal, so you can kind of mumble under your voice, so it's not going to be super loud. So unless there's someone pretty near you, or with cyber ears, they might not actually hear exactly what you're saying. Although they might.
You can also just say stuff that they already know, like I'm being attacked.
Or you could like just no, don't shoot again, or something to make it, something that you might say to them, but also would make it clear to your team that something's up.
I just want to know why all of that happened to me in the first place, with like 0 misses and walking out of the bathroom.
Well, you had a miss previously when you went back to your van the first time, or maybe it was
that was after 4 heavily armed guards and a powered robot followed me out of the bathroom.
Previous session. There was a miss that carried over that you just didn't know about. You missed, but you never found out exactly what the result of that was, and it was mostly that they had flagged the location that you had come from. Or maybe it was, I can't remember if it was you or Whisper, but someone ended up getting the van flagged a little. And then you just happened to be unaware as you were coming back and didn't notice any of the signs that might have hinted you off to that. So... yeah, so Trashman, you just got hit by the stun. The rest of you have just landed nearby. What are you doing?
Call the taxi?
Okay. All right.
I mean, where were we supposed to get paid?
What?
Where were we supposed to get paid?
You were going to probably Trashman would recontact his anonymous the guy that the fixer that he had talked with online. So once you got back together, he would contact them, and you would figure out either. I guess there was nothing that you had to actually physically exchange, so probably they would have just done a digital exchange at that point. Once they verified that the job was done.
Yeah,
Have
so
we clued in that Tashman has been arrested?
yeah, so I'll call Trashman on comms and say, Trashman, where are you?
I'll just tell him that whatever the address is of the parking garage, I guess.
And they
Are
knew
you-
where the parking garage was, right? I mean, they already knew.
I know.
Yeah.
But are you filling us in on the situation? Because we can't come and rescue you until you tell us you need help.
I mean, as much as I can. I'm not sure.
Yeah. So you can. I mean, you're gonna be kind of either out of breath or maybe a little bit of a cough as you're doing it, but you can definitely still speak and your comms still work.
Then I'll do that.
Okay.
I do
So
have cyber ears. I can listen in on the situation if I can.
well, I mean, the cyber ears work for where you are, but he's in a different location.
Oh, yeah. Oops.
But okay, so I guess you radio him, you have him check in, and what do you tell them?
I'll tell them where I am and I'm being attacked for some reason.
Okay. All right, so yeah, you just now know that he's in the garage and he's under attack, and that's the extent of what you know. What do you guys do?
Sigh heavily.
Yeah, go ahead.
But, oh, go save him, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, let's
So-
go get eyes on the parking garage. Like,
All right.
Get within sight of it and see if we can tell what's going on from the outside.
Okay. So do you take the wingsuits off first, or are you just gonna go as quick as you can without worrying about stripping those off? Just so I know. I don't
Yeah,
think
let's take the wingsuits off and just drop them here. If we can, we'll pick them up.
Okay.
I
So
mean,
you
we
take.
have a car. We have a driver. We can leave them there. Like, we'll have to have weapons though.
Yeah, by the time you get the wingsuits down, you did call in the guy, the EDC driver who was ostensibly the taxi. He had said that he would only be a minute or two out at any point in time, and he knew where this rendezvous point was. So by the time you strip off the wingsuits and get them back in the pack, he shows up, and you can either jump in that car and have him take you near, or you can leave the wingsuits there and go on foot. I think you're a couple blocks away from where you need to be.
Okay, yeah, let's take the car then. That would also keep us concealed.
Okay, how close are you gonna go?
I think just within sight, so like a block away.
Okay, so
depending
that-
on how big the blocks are.
All in all, that takes about, let's see, it was 2 minutes out, took wingsuits dropped. Yeah, okay, so within about 4.5 minutes from the point that Trashman had first gone into the garage, you show up there. At the point that they show up, Trashman, you've been knocked to the ground, and you feel like your side is swelling, and you just radio in, and then as the guards come in and approach you, do you just sit? Do you wait for them to do whatever they're going to do, or do you
I
say
guess so.
anything? Or okay.
The on my character, it says I have trace 1. Was that the failed roll?
No, that wasn't the specific one. The Matrix rolls got some clocks raised, but they didn't actually. They weren't the things that traced you.
I think it was when Whisper went back to the van to change his disguise that
might
things
be.
got flagged.
How does that relate to Trashman, though? I'm just trying to figure out. It makes 0 sense to me. I'm sorry.
Because they were watching the van. They knew that
God.
he went to the van to change his disguise after having raised suspicion in the office by walking through and totally failing to convince the secretary to let, or the executive, whoever was at the front, the receptionist, to let him just walk up to the 97th floor. And after then, there was a giant firefight on the 97th floor, and alarms have gone up. That warning flag has been raised as a much higher potential threat. So there was a team because that was flagged, there was a team that was dispatched there to apprehend if that was an escape vector.
Some of this is probably consequences of the action clock being at 2200.
Yes. Yeah, there's a number of reasons why it ultimately happened, and you just happened to not notice, so you walked right into the middle of it.
Yeah, maybe it's just like this game and the mechanics in it that I'm not really wrapping my head around, and I just honestly don't really think it's for me. So you can figure out what happens to Trash Man, but he is going to retire after this mission. So sorry about that. It was nice playing with you guys.
Hold on. I mean, you have plenty of options here. It's not like you've just lost.
No, that's okay. I understand that. I just don't think that this system is necessarily for me. So,
okay.
All right. Enjoy your night.
Well, he's gone.
Apparently. So, let me think. How does that affect then? Okay. So, I mean, do...
Maybe we can simplify things and just have him and just say that Trashman keeps us informed of what's going on with him as he's being picked up.
Yeah.
And we can deal with our end of it.
Right. That's
as
what
we try and rescue him.
Yeah. I'm just trying to work through a few things that were upcoming that will change now, so I'm trying to make sure that I cover all of that. Okay. Yeah, so he was in the garage. He got slammed in the side. He reported to you that that there was an ambush and he could use some help, and you were heading in to help him. So while you were moving in, he was starting to be taken into custody. The guards approached. They basically, it's not quite the same as now, so they weren't reading rights or anything. They were just telling him to not move, and they have him at this point, at the point you would have gotten within about a block and could probably start seeing the situation. They would have had him partially in custody, probably hands behind his back, and starting to look for weapons at the point where you would be able to act. So what do you do?
So do we see any security presence outside the garage?
Nothing obvious from outside, although now that, depending on your angle, you could potentially see them through the entryway, because he parked on the first floor and it was in the in that area. So
okay, but it's not like a massive security response with like a
No.
dozen vehicles and that sort of thing. Okay.
No. And I would say that he would have probably told you that it was just, as far as he was aware, it was just 4 security guards and some kind of robot. So it's a pretty small team. It's like they weren't even necessarily expecting anyone to show up at the van, but in case they did, they were ready for apprehending.
Well, what do you guys think? Should we just go and try and shoot them up, or is there anything more subtle we can try?
Well, we're not getting paid because I think only he knows the contact. So I guess our mission got a bit more complicated. So yeah, I guess we gotta kill him. Unless you can think of another creative way to deal with the situation.
Yeah, so I think we should just pull up to the garage and if he's telling us that there's not an extra, that there's just the team with him and we don't see anybody else outside, I'd say we should have one person stay with the car or stay at the entrance maybe, and the other two of us go in and try and take out the people arresting him.
Also, I remember there are cameras that would know because they track the vehicle back there. So I guess there's some surveillance going on. So if we did just straight out shoot them out, that they'll probably send a response to.
The
Yeah, I
question
think-
is, how fast can they respond? Are they like can close a gate on us or something? Because they're pretty slow.
There's no
We'll have
obvious.
it all depends on their roles.
Yeah. There were no obvious gates in that garage when you saw it earlier, so you don't think that they can just lock down the garage and prevent you from exiting unless they bring a massive force and block the entrance.
How
So
about-
just blitz it? We're more
Yeah.
than capable.
How about this for an idea? Is there a second exit that we could go out on the other side? Because maybe we can
You don't know
come in
for
on
sure,
one side and go right out the other side.
but given where
without-
it is in the city, you assume that there's probably both it's kind of on a corner, and based on how you are the parking structures you're familiar with, you think there's probably both a driving exit as well, at least one other exit, both for vehicles and for passengers, and probably more exits for pedestrians. So probably more exits for them.
Okay, yeah, I'd say let's do that. Let's have the car drop us at the closest entrance that we're looking at right now, and then it's gonna peel off and meet us again at on the other side of the building, the other corner, the other street, and we'll get picked up there. Hopefully that will throw off the response just a little bit, so if they
Okay.
come
And
to
you-
where we entered from, we won't be there anymore.
Right. And you were looking at this from afar, right? So go ahead, whoever was looking at that, you want to roll and assess.
Sure, I can do that unless anybody else wants to.
Was it me specifically, or
I mean, basically as a group you could roll, so I would say one of you and anyone who wants to add to the help, you can. I mean, if you try to help out, you potentially could have negative results, but you also could help it, so your choice if you want to help or not.
I got one edge?
I think you should roll it.
I have one edge too, so I'll just go. That's a 6. I could use help.
One stage.
So help is with links.
Yes. Unless you have something that lets you use something else.
I have no links with Whisper.
Oh, but it's with mailing.
Yeah.
I guess that's a success.
Yep, that's a partial, so that gives you a +1. If there's any negatives to the assess itself, then you'll also be implicated in that, but that's still good. So you get a +1, so that means your assess is a 7. So you get a hold 1, so you can ask any of the questions in the assess list.
I'll say,
And whatever the question is, if the answer relates to something you do moving forward, you'll get a +1 from it.
right. I'll say, where can I gain the most advantage?
Okay. Well, you have a pretty good idea that probably this team didn't come here on foot. They've probably got some sort of vehicle, and typically the vehicle, if they were setting up an ambush, the vehicle it would be both close but also not just immediately obvious inside. So probably they've got their vehicle that they are working with parked somewhere nearby, and the most advantageous thing is likely to find a less populated place to set up an ambush back for them as they are extracting.
Okay.
But it might be just as good to just rush straight in and take them by surprise. So either of those are potentially valid.
Do we know if they're going to just take him to a different location and then we can hit them on the road?
You're not sure because you don't know who it is. You don't know specifics. You've got a pretty good feeling that it relates to what you just finished doing, considering what just happened. But you don't know exactly what they're going to do with him. It's a corp.
So
If it's corp security, they could go anywhere from just killing him on site, saying that he was an immediate threat, to taking him to some sort of facility for questioning.
Here's what I'm thinking. We'll split to two groups. The killers will go and rush them. And Whisper can go and disable their vehicle.
Well, I guess I'll go disable the vehicle then. What about the surveillance, or are we just gonna ignore that one?
I mean, if you can take care of that.
Yeah, I don't think we have to worry too much about surveillance. I mean, we've already shot up their facility and had somebody get arrested. I think being quiet is not a key objective, really.
Also, we can't, we have no way to do it, so why worry about it?
Right.
Yeah.
Right, with our hacker taken down.
And you did mark a couple security cameras on, like Whisper did, I think, as he was going in and out. He noted where some of them were. So there's a lot of blind spots, but there are a couple, and he does know where they are. So he could both avoid them or keep backs to them at the points where they are, or just not worry about them, or try to disable them. But it's pretty low security, so it's not that at least noticeable, unless there's hidden things that you weren't aware of.
I mean, if we know blind spots, let's use them. But
yep.
The important thing is let's do the rush.
Yeah, you don't have much time if you're gonna make a rush work, so that has to go pretty quick.
Yeah, well, let's do that.
And fortunately, you realize that there aren't that many people. Like, this is a garage that is in a less, like I'd mentioned before, it's in a less. You purposely parked there because it was a less populated area, so there's not a whole lot of foot traffic. And there's not really people waiting in line in the garage to park and stuff. It's got a lot of cars parked in it, but it's not got a lot of people going in and out. And at this point, probably there's going to be more of a hold on it as soon as they gain full control of the situation and start, blocking off areas.
Alright, so I'll go for the big robot and you take care of the rest.
Okay.
I'll go disable the vehicle, have the taxi come around.
Okay.
All right,
so,
sounds like a plan.
Yep. So Whisper, you're going to try to identify the vehicle and disable it, and the Mailing and Riser, you're both going to rush and try to disable the rest of the team itself and not hurt Trashman while doing it, I assume. Correct?
Yeah, you have to pay that up.
All right. So how are you getting? So Whisper, you're not. It's not going to be difficult for you to find that. You're pretty familiar with cybersecurity, like corp security tactics. So you know generally where they would look. So you have a good feeling that you will be able to find their vehicle pretty quickly. They probably didn't go out of their way to hide it. They just tried to make it less conspicuous. And then Riser and Mailing, how are you entering?
So we have a good idea of where where Trashman's van is, right? Because
yes,
we've
unless they moved it, you know exactly where it is.
Right. So I think we just go as directly to it as we can. Maybe trying to keep something in, to give us cover so we're not seen immediately as we come in the door. But I don't think we need to even worry too much about that. We mostly go direct.
I'm thinking I'll just rush them because I'm going into melee either way. I don't need the cover, so I'm going to kind of make a beeline here.
Okay, yeah, I was just thinking, don't run through the open space if there's something to hide you. But
I'll walk sort of casually until they're in sight, and then I'll engage.
Okay,
of course, you are fully
good.
armored with. Are you pulling your weapons out of the vehicle now that you you were at the vehicle, so you can be carrying anything you want. What are you? Are you just taking your assault rifles? Or wait, you've got a sword, right?
I have a sword and a machine pistol.
So I don't really know how inconspicuous you're going to be, but yeah, you can.
did say we know of blind spots.
Yes.
You know.
Well, for the security, not necessarily for the guards, but yeah.
Right. So
Well,
I think we just like go at a like fast walk pace until we are in sight of the guards, and then we start running at them.
So even though you look conspicuous, you're not behaving conspicuous. So that'll, even if you look,
Right.
people will probably just kind of look over that. Okay. All right. So you do that. Whisper, you find the vehicle, and actually I'll cover this first because it might impact what happens next. As the two of you are approaching, you're going kind of at a fast walking speed. You're heading straight towards. Are you going in the vehicle entrance because it's the most directly accessible and probably the
Yeah.
most straight shot? Okay, so you're just heading straight for that. Whisper, you almost immediately find the vehicle that they had. It's just a small, like a it's the standard security vehicle that they would use. It's a car. It has enough space to maybe put a person or two in the back. It's similar to a squad car a police would drive now, just modified and probably bulletproof windows, but that's about the extent of it. It's not fully armored or anything. And it's parked near the parking structure on the outside. It's just parked along the street in an area, and there's and it's actually it's not running, but it's there. So you find that. What do you do?
Are there any like personnel nearby, or?
No.
Right, so I gotta figure out to get past like maybe a car alarm.
Okay. Go ahead and just, I guess we'll call that covert entry. If you're trying, are you trying to get into the car?
Yeah.
Yeah. So covert entry will work for that.
Hold up, forgot what to roll. That's a 6, apparently.
Okay. So on a 6, that just means that you don't get any holds, right? That doesn't necessarily mean you can't do it.
Yeah, it doesn't really say.
Let's see.
I guess the GM makes it move.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess my question is, does that mean? I guess that just means you can't immediately bypass anything. It doesn't mean you can't break in. It just means you don't get holds to just bypass things. So then you will need to roll something to bypass the alarm itself, or let's see, how would you bypass an alarm? I think that would be what, like act under pressure.
Probably.
Oh, I think we'll just shoot the wheels off and just walk away.
All right. You have a silenced weapon, I'm assuming.
Yeah, silence pistol. One I brought with me.
Okay. So yeah, you can do that. So you're just gonna shoot out all 4 wheels.
Yep.
All right. 4 wheels, flat. So it is, and this was a wheeled vehicle. It wasn't like a hover or anything. Okay, so those are flat. They're not going to be going anywhere, at least. The radio inside will still work, but that's that. Okay.
Ooh, break the antenna.
Oh, is there a visible antenna?
Well, yeah, you could, yeah.
Just break everything. I'll shoot that off too.
Okay, it takes a little more than a shot. It
Scratch
takes,
those sides too.
takes kind of a combination of shooting and like yanking a little bit with your hands to pull the rest of it out. But yeah, you definitely tear off the area that you would assume would be the primary antenna. And on these vehicles, there's kind of a thing on the windshield that spreads across and comes up. So you just rip that off. It's under like a hard composite material that allows the antenna to be housed there, and you just rip that off and you pull it out. So the entire wire kind of pulls out from inside of the car, and that was relatively easy to do. Of course, at that point, it does set off an alarm. So now the vehicle is making a really loud, obnoxious noise. At that point, let's see. Actually, 1 second. I just wanted to look up in the infiltrator playbook for covert entry. When you attempt to infiltrate, roll cool. Okay, so yeah, the failure really is more about not getting any holds, and I have the chance of making a move if I want to. Okay. All right. So you do that. While that's happening, kind of in parallel, Riser, Mei-Ling, are you both moving together, or are you kind of separated in some way?
Well spaced, I think.
Okay, so you're kind of
Yeah, I
moving
think
together.
we're like on opposite sides of the traffic lane.
Okay, so moving together, but not next to each other, so one auto fire burst isn't going to be able to slam into both of you. Okay. Or it could, but it'd have to go pretty wide. All right, so you head in, you walk through the front entrance, and you see 3 guards, well, 2 guards actually over another person that you assume is Trashman, and 2 guards kind of standing in flanking position over behind them, and 1 large robot, a 4-legged robot of some sort with a large gun mounted on one side of it, kind of doing a slow circle. As you walk in, see what does happen. So they haven't noticed you yet as you came inside of them, so I guess I will just start with this. What do you do?
I'm gonna rush the robot.
Okay, so synth nerves kick in, I'm assuming?
Obviously.
Yep. So go ahead and roll. Actually, what are you doing, Mei-Ling?
I'm gonna try and shoot the overwatching guards. Are they close enough to each other that I can engage them both?
Yes. Yeah, because the 2 that are the 2 that are immediately over him are together. The other 2 are on opposite sides, so you could definitely take both of them, but they're a little farther apart. So
I don't want to engage the ones who are near Trashman, the other 2.
Okay. So right as you have synth nerves too?
Yeah.
Okay, so you both engage your synth nerves and you just leap in. Right as you start rushing in, you hear an alarm outside going off, and at basically the same instant, the 4 guards kind of start reacting to the alarm and also just vaguely notice you, and they start, like, they don't even have time to actually react yet. Whatever you're doing is going to happen first, but they start to react. They start lifting their rifles. They have surprised looks in their eyes as they look up and see you rushing at them. Let's see. You are firing from distance, so Mei-Ling, roll mix it up first. Actually, I would say one of you roll mix it up, the other roll help out. Well,
So I'll help Mei-Ling.
let me think about that. Which makes more sense? Because I don't want to end up having you roll a bad roll just because you're doing help out instead of another mix it up. Yeah, so either roll 2 separate mix it ups or one of you help the other. You'll still do damage. Both of you will do damage regardless. So actually, it's probably better if one of you rolls mix it up and the other rolls help out, because you'll both be able to do damage and there's less negatives if there's only one mix it up roll.
I'll help out.
Okay. Let's see. Did we have +1 forward from the assess?
The assess was, let's say yes, because part of that was, yes, you can either disable this or just rush straight in, and one of the things you're doing is rushing straight in, so yeah.
Okay. Alright, that's an 11-12 with the help.
Nice. Okay,
Nice.
so that pretty much means whatever you want to happen happened. So what happened?
Alright, so I think I pick off the 2 guards who are away from Trashman, and so they were off to one side, right?
Off to either side. So one kind of to his left and one to his right.
Oh, I
What were
see.
you using? What weapon?
Assault rifle.
Okay.
Got that.
Were you using auto fire or were you like bursting?
If can I use auto fire without
Nope.
putting Trashman at risk? Okay,
Nope.
yeah. So I'll just fire a burst at one of those 2.
But because he's on the
sure.
ground, I mean, it's a much lower chance. Just so you know, they're up and he's down, so you could definitely aim high and have a much lower chance of hitting him. But yeah, there's still a risk.
You know what? I'll just spray down the group of them. Let's go for it.
All right. And then let me think. So yeah, because you're using synth nerves, all that happens, and you are able to, let's see, auto fire. So you're trying to auto fire all of them. Does 3 harm. Okay. So just what you said. You just spray the area. You aim high. Roll a quick act under pressure.
Okay.
+2.
Okay.
Okay.
That's a 9.
Yep. So you just unload your entire clip directly into the area. So the robot's that robot is the only thing not in the range of what you're hitting. Everything else, including Trashman, is in the range, but he is on the ground, and because he's on the ground, as he sees you coming in, he's actually looking at the entrance. He notices you come in, so he actually pushes himself down against the pillar and down a little bit, and he kind of starts pushing away. As you rush in, you just take the shot, and it sweeps through and slams into several of them. 2 of them get hit and knocked back. One of them gets hit and drops to the ground. You can't tell exactly what happened with him, if he was just dropping to get out of the way or if he's dropping because he's hit. But and you hear the bullets just like embed into the armor, because they are, as you're looking at them, you're seeing that they're wearing body armor. So ultimately you're hitting them with 3 harm. Is there any pluses to that?
No.
Okay, so 3 harm minus 1 harm from the body armor, so they both end up taking 2. So they're still standing, but they are definitely stunned from that. So one of them is like he's on his knee on the ground. It looks like he's not going all the way to the ground, but he's on his knee. And the other, that was one of the ones that was actually over Trashman. The other 2 both get knocked back, and they're completely surprised, and they're a bit stunned at this point. So they're not necessarily reacting quickly. And while that's happening, Riser, you're rushing in. You hear gunfire. Was that silenced or was that loud?
That's loud.
Okay. Yeah. So you just hear the echoes filling the garage with like deafening noise. You're rushing in, and what do?
I'm going to try and disable the robot.
Okay.
Where's my
Roll mix it up.
Synthetic nerve, help me.
Absolutely. Seven. Okay.
Alright, so what's a partial success here means?
It basically means you have to choose 2. So you achieve the objective, you're able to do damage to it, but there's 4 things that could happen, and you need to choose 2 of them. Either you make too much noise, you take harm, an ally takes harm, or something of value breaks.
I'll take harm.
Okay.
And the sword I'm using breaks.
Ah. Alright. Do you want to describe that, or you want me to?
I rush to the robot, go to sweep one of its legs, and it digs pretty deep but not enough, and then I go up and try to cut its gun, and maybe I manage to rip some of the cords, but the sword just breaks.
Okay. It does. How much armor do you have?
I have 2 armor and I'm a small gang.
Ah, okay. So essentially, it did 3 harm, but basically that was pretty much completely absorbed by your armor, as well as just your ability to absorb damage. So ultimately, you took 0. Roll a harm.
Still roll the.
Yeah.
Yeah, you still roll the harm for 0.
Yeah, roll harm with 0 damage.
Alright.
Perfect. Low is good here. So
Also, he receives like 5 damage from me.
Right. Let's see, 5. So nothing happens for your harm roll, and yeah. So your sword, even though it only broke after like digging into the plating on its side. You saw a point that maybe was a little weak, so you just drove the sword inside of it, and it slides inside, and you kind of see some smoke, and you smell the smell of electric parts like burning. But as you're doing that, it jerks around and twists towards you, and you keep grip on your sword, but because you keep grip on it, but it turned with such torque, yeah, your sword just snaps. Okay. As you're doing that, as you're rushing in, so the guards haven't reacted yet, but you do notice, like, Trashman, from the distraction, he has kind of pushed his way back, and he's been working at his cyber deck, and he's just like pecking at it, and he's looking down at his arm, pushing his way back, and tapping at his hand. Whisper, the alarm is going off in that car, and you're there. What do you do? And you've just heard gunfire coming from the garage.
I'm gonna head out of the garage.
Head out of the garage?
Or are we in the same garage if the firefights happen? I'll basically just go to them for the
Sorry, yeah,
firefights happen.
you're not actually in. You're outside of the garage right now. So they had parked along like an outside street next to the garage.
Yeah, I'm gonna make my way out and head to where everyone else is.
Okay, so you're going into the garage?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so you head into the garage. You just heard you hear like a full load of, that was the submachine gun, right? Mainly
Assault rifle.
assault rifle, right? Okay. So you hear like a full clip empty of bullets empty out there, and then you just hear like a crashing, screeching sound with a really loud crack, which would have been his sword breaking. And you head in, and at this point you walk in through a side entrance where it was a pedestrian entryway, and you see Trashman kind of working his way behind a pillar. You see Mei Ling standing a little back, holding the rifle, just having unloaded it onto the guard. You see 4 guards, 2 of them knocked back and kind of trying to recover their footing, one of them on a knee, and he was a little off to the side, and then one of them over Trashman. He's turned his back on Trashman at this point and is looking at the much more immediate threat. What do you do? Test.
Hold on. Again, can you repeat that?
Yeah. What? Did that not come through?
I was distracted by something.
Oh, okay. You had basically just come in and seen the scene. You are maybe 20, 30 meters out from where they are, and I was just asked you what you do while they are engaging.
How many are still standing? Like, the guards are dead, just a robot?
They're not dead. 3 of the guards are still standing, but 2 of them had just been knocked back by a shot, and you can kind of, if you look closely, you can kind of tell that there's a little bit of blood coming from chest wounds in both of the staggered guards. There's one guard that's on his knee, and he has a shot to the arm that's basically his left arm, so he's still able to use his gun, but his left arm is bleeding significantly, and he's on a knee, but he's not on the ground. And then the other guard is still standing. He either wasn't shot or was grazed. And then there's the robot that's just at this point twisting to face Riser.
Right, so as I'm making my way in, I shoot down the surveillance with my silenced pistol, and as I close in, I take cover behind the car.
Okay. So, yeah, you head in, you just take a few quick shots at the camera that you know is there, and you take it out. No problem there. It just sparks fly off of it, and it drops. Mei Ling, what are you doing?
So my rifle's out of ammunition, so I am just going to drop it on its sling so it slides behind me and pop out my blades and charge in on, I think, the guards that are closest to Trash Man.
Okay. There's enough distance that they're probably going to be able to direct before you can get all the way to them, but your synth nerves are going to probably still give you an advantage to anything that happens there as that's happening. As all that's happening, though, so Riser, this robot thing, the four-legged machine, it had just turned, twisting the sword out from its side and was going to face you, and it was just lifting up one of its foot. It almost looked like it was about to kick and push you back with one of the legs. As it does that, it suddenly just jerks to a stop, and its leg repositions, and then it turns back towards the four guards, and it's basically turning its side to you. What do you guys do? Whoever wants to go.
Can I finish it off? I mean, how badly damaged is it?
It doesn't look super badly damaged. It's I mean, your sword did some damage, but most of the damage your sword did was to an outer layer of armor. So it has some internal damage, but it doesn't really look like it's off. It doesn't look like it's moving, having any difficulty moving. So you can't tell how much damage it's taken, but it's
still engaged.
Yes, although it's now turning away from you. It's turning towards the four guards and Trashman.
I'm just gonna pull my hidden sword that I have on my neck and finish it off if I can. I'll try to go for the optics, I guess.
Okay. Roll mix it up. With a +1 because it's not really paying attention to you. And +1 for your synth nerves as well.
Alright, so that's 9.
Oh yeah, you roll synth for that. That's right. Okay, so with a 9, that does what? So choose
I'll get
2.
hurt again.
Okay. So last time when you got hurt, oh yeah, you got shot by the gun. Now it's not going to be a gun. So, so you were going at it with a second sword?
Yeah.
And what is the other choice? You get hurt, and what's the other choice?
So my option is something about a break, an ally gets hurt, and the mission clocks go up.
Yes.
I guess ally gets hurt.
Okay.
Yeah, I can totally take some damage.
All
Comes
right.
my way.
So this was a second sword, right? Okay. So yeah, you go at, is this a smaller sword? Is it more like a piercing, or is it also a slash type sword?
It's a full-on sword. It's actually a little more fancy. It's concealed. It expands from like a capsule thing, but it's basically the same sword, only not messy.
Okay. And so, okay, is it more precise? Is it like something that you would be more directed with?
Yeah, like it's more maneuverable, I guess.
Okay.
That's how it translates to the mechanics.
All right. So yeah, you dive in at it. It's turned its side to you for whatever reason. So you take the sword, and in the same gap that your existing blade is in, you try to just jam it into the existing gap and try to do as much damage inside of it as possible. And how much damage do you do again with this sword?
5.
Ouch. Okay.
How is it still standing?
It was well armored for one. Yeah, this time though, you're able, because you're kind of going into that gap, you slide your sword in there. It doesn't break this time, and you're able to kind of smash it around, and you can tell that it is definitely far more affected by this. It's not dropped. It is moving kind of, it's obviously trying to maintain balance. This is the type of robot you haven't seen. You haven't really seen a four-legged robot like this before, so it's definitely staggering, trying to compensate for some sort of internal damage, maybe servos, maybe something else mechanical. But It's definitely seriously injured. Mei Ling, what are you doing?
So I'm attacking the guards with my blades. And I want to basically try and take down the ones that are right by and closest to Trash Man.
Okay, so the one that's still over him, and then the other that's at his knee next to him?
Yeah, I don't know if I can effectively engage them both. Maybe I can just drive off the one that I'm not directly engaging.
Okay, roll... Yeah, roll mix it up. You just did? No, you didn't. Okay.
And let's see, so I have one forward from Synth Nerves. Do I have another forward still from the Assess or not? Is that done now that we're fully engaged?
You're still kind of... They're
I think
still
it's
surprised, so
forward.
Yeah.
Okay, so it still
It's one
does
forward
count,
whenever
or?
you act on it, and you're still acting on the surprise, so yes, this round it'll still count.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, that's a 12.
Okay. So describe that with one. So one of them you're going to drop, and you're going to be trying to drop the other. But don't describe the other, but describe the first.
All right, so so the closest guy, I just as I come towards him, I just my wrists bend down and out come the two sets of blades. And the blade on my right hand, I just sort of like make a punching motion, and it just goes right through the guy's like upper chest, goes right through his armor vest, and basically just like pins him to the van practically. It doesn't get stuck or anything, but it just slams him back against it, and I snap my arm back out. And then the second guard is a little too far away for me to like actually hit him, but I'm moving towards him, and he's like taking a step back at least.
Okay. As you do that, you're kind of surprised by the sounds of a fair amount of gunfire behind you, and it's like extremely fast. It's basically actually it sounds like this. And the person that you just sliced with your blade just evaporates. In fact, both guards as well as the third guard to your right, just like they just almost disintegrate. It's like they just explode in a cloud of red. And the only one left standing is your blades are basically just like mid slice, and then just they disappear. The guy disappears from around them. So the only one standing at this point is the one to the left of. So yeah, the one to your left. Right.
Trashman hacked the robot?
Yes. Yeah. At least you don't know that yet, but yeah, that's what happened. So,
Cool.
Whisper, what are you doing? You've just seen a cloud of red, so you can't even tell exactly what happened. You saw just massive, like the flare from the turret on the side of the that robot is almost blinding, and then you just see a red cloud.
So, like, there's only one guy left? The one to the left?
Yes, and the
So
robot.
we have to take out the robot. But I'm guessing we don't have to, so I'm behind cover right now. I'll just take a quick shot at the last guy standing if it's a clear shot.
Okay. Roll mix it up.
Does my synthetic nerve apply?
Yeah.
Wow. 6.
6.
Can any of us help out
Yeah.
from our positions, or
still.
do we not have enough time?
Well, let's see. Well, probably Riser. What would you have been doing? So you just saw this. You saw the robot turn, face them, and just destroy those 3 guards. What are you doing?
I guess I'll disengage from the robot and start like regrouping, maybe rushing to the last one.
Okay, so you're going to head towards the 3rd. All right, so 6. Okay, so Whisper, you take the shot, but your shot goes wide because the guard was so surprised. He like leaped when the sound of that turret going off happened, and he realized that he was just being sprayed down by the remains of his peers. So he jumped right at the wrong moment, and your shot just barely missed. But you were not really in a position. He wasn't paying attention to you. He didn't realize you were there. So he shoots wild. He just like pulls the trigger on his gun, and he was the one that had the non-lethal rounds, and he just fires a bag that hits the ceiling near you, but doesn't actually hit anyone. So you just hear a loud poof, and then nothing comes of that. Riser, what are you doing? Or how are you continuing that
Can
move?
I finish him off?
Yeah.
So should I mix it up?
Go ahead. With a +1, in addition to any other pluses you have.
This guy's gonna get beautiful.
Yeah, finally a full success. It's dead.
Yeah, describe that.
I cut him vertically.
Just pull it in half.
Yep.
Okay. And you do so much damage, your sword just slides in, slices straight through, and he just collapses into two pieces on the ground. Trashman kind of backs up, and he wipes he's just covered in blood at this point. It's dripping down his face. He wipes it off of his face. He wipes his goggles clean. He flicks it off. He pushes a few more buttons, and then as he pushes it, the robot it was about to actually leap towards the guards, but they're not there anymore. So it stops, and then it actually just drops to the ground. All 4 legs collapse from under it.
No,
And
stand him against the rest of the building so we can escape.
well, it actually burnt out. There was a thing in it that ended up not allowing it to be controlled for that long. But so he loses control of it, but it also doesn't try to take you guys out. The combination of the damage you did plus what he was doing to it, it doesn't have anything left in it, so it just kind of collapses onto the ground. So now you have
Everyone in the van.
yeah, so
all
Trashman, he
pretty
kind of
good.
he backpedals back away from the remains of the bodies. He pulls himself up, and he heads over, opens the van, and you guys get into it.
Yeah, let's get out of here.
But what about our taxi? Do we?
It was I mean, you can tell him to meet you at the rendezvous, or you could go to where it is. It's about a block away, right?
I'm not gonna risk it. I'm getting in the van with everyone else. I'll just
Yeah, I
tell
think
them
let's just
to
pile in the
rendezvous.
van and yeah, sounds good.
Okay. So you pile in the van, and he starts it. It kind of I have to remember what his van was like. I think it's not that great, so it's slow to start, but then it starts, and then he just kind of backs it out. It's way slower than you want it to be, but you're able to just drive out, pull onto the road, and drive up. You head past the taxi. Do you want to switch vehicles, or you just want to head back to the rendezvous point you'd set before?
I think we should ditch the van.
Get all your equipment, I guess.
Yeah, I think let's set a new rendezvous point another couple blocks away and switch vehicles there.
Okay.
Have the taxi follow us there and switch.
Yeah, leave it in like a long-term parking somewhere, or some alley, or whatever.
Right. Okay. Someone roll a act under pressure just to see if anything crazy happens or if this is easy.
I got +2 on cool.
Go for it.
There we go. Got it.
9, 10, 11. Okay. Yep. So you just head out, you drive down, and you don't actually pass anything that raises your notice. You don't get stopped by anything. You just drive along. You can tell that as he's driving, Trashman was pretty nervous. He's still riding the adrenaline of what just happened, but that's way too loud. He's still riding the adrenaline of what happened, but his nerves are starting to pick back up, so he's starting to shake slightly as you're going, but everything goes good. So you head up to the rendezvous, or you set a new rendezvous point, right?
Yeah, just a couple more blocks.
So the
away.
taxi meets you back up there, and then you head up there. One of you contacts the EDC, to get them to meet you in the same spot, and yeah. So now you're there with the taxi. You're ditching the van somewhere.
Right.
I
So
think
we should have the taxi get us out of here and go back to something, and have Trashman contact his fixer to get paid.
Okay. He is hesitant. He's pretty reluctant to just ditch the van, but he's willing to put it somewhere else away from where you guys are. So he'll end up leaving it somewhere, and then getting picked up with the taxi and heading out to wherever it is that you want to go to lay low until you're sure things are safe. And during that time in the taxi, he will contact the fixer that had arranged for this job, who is going to roll the getting paid.
It doesn't matter because it doesn't use any stats.
Ah, you're right. Legwork. Okay, so someone roll legwork.
Sure, I'll do that. Do the 3 unfilled segments. 7.
You lost.
All right. So yeah, definitely could be worse. Let's see, on a 7 and 9.
So
Okay.
choose one from the list below. Man, I don't know which one to pick here when you only get one. It's okay. We definitely don't need employers identifiable because we already know roughly who they are, or at least But do we want doesn't attract attention, or it's not a setup or ambush, or you get paid in full? I think we can probably do without the extra experience.
I mean, we're ready for a fight still. Like, none of us got hurt.
That's true.
Let's get paid in full.
Always.
All right, yeah, sure. Let's choose we get paid in full.
Okay. So he's tapping away at how would he do this? Would he drop in? No, he wouldn't go into. Yeah, he wouldn't check in. So he's just tapping away at his hand terminal, and after a bit he says, "All right, they have confirmed that the job was complete. They say that they weren't all that happy about the way it was done. It was extremely loud, and you left the piggyback device. So they're arguing that we need to recover these costs somehow. So they're basically saying they're about to wire you like about half the price that they would have offered normally. How do you respond?" Like, he's like, "So what do I say?"
What would you say? God.
I think we should say that we knew that the piggyback device could be destroyed remotely, so it didn't seem important.
I want to
remove it.
bash the organization skills. Like, they'll set up basically 2 teams separately. Like, this was a mess from the beginning. It's their fault.
Okay, so he starts tapping away. You're waiting impatiently for a few minutes, and then they finally respond with, let's see. All right, fine. Payment will be full, but we are going to be, future jobs will be more tightly dictated. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. So they end up paying you in full. You get the credits wired through an anonymous, like it's basically they're laundered and they're dropped into an account that you're able to access them. So basically, what was it? You didn't have any initial mission traits on this, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think that you rolled like a 6 or something when you were getting the job, so you didn't get to say anything. So it's just normal pay, right? So whatever you put in, I guess now get double that back. So if you had staked 2 cred, get 3. If you stake, I think a few of you staked 3. Well, 2 of you, I guess, staked 3.
All 2 of us.
Yeah. So one, I guess, Whisper, you get 6 back, and Riser and Mei Ling both get 4.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Now the question is, since you're doing this anonymously, I think the only thing that this did, the meeting did attract attention, but it was more that it attracted EDC's attention, like they were a little not perfectly pleased by the way that you handled the job, and I think their clock is going to increase. So
Okay.
So they're, even though you're on their good side, at the same time they kind of see you as like kind of a wild card or a ineffective but maybe overly noisy tool. Or maybe they think that you just brought a little bit too much attention to that job, and they think that might bring it to you, so now they're keeping tabs on you to make sure that you're not bringing something to them.
All right.
Okay, so follow up to that, I guess that pretty much finishes that job. Let's see, was there anything I left out from just that specific stuff?
Got a question. So I
Yeah.
stake 3 cred, I get 6 back, or just 3?
6. I mean, because the 3 that you staked, you should have taken away as soon as you staked it. So you should get 6 back, which means ultimately you gained 3. If you hadn't taken those 3 away, then you would only add 3 more.
What's it worth it?
So I think you started with 5, so you probably, unless you spent any more, should have now ended up with
Should be 8.
8. Yeah. Yeah. So some time would pass before you actually ended up picking up another mission, and I may need to retool that mission because it was kind of heavily dependent on a hacker. Huh. How do I handle that? Well, I think maybe we can just be done with tonight, and then I have to retool a mission, see if we can get a 4th person, maybe someone who could play a hacker, and then I could go just with what I've already got. Otherwise, I can retool it a little bit so that you either hire out a hacker or we don't need a hacker quite as much with it.
I mean, maybe we can do like the initial stage, like do the get the job and stuff like that.
I was thinking that, but if you have another hacker who's going to do it, I'd rather them be part of that. But I could also just do that tonight, either or.
Yeah. We should also take care of things like experience and
Yes.
links.
Yes. That's, yeah, oh yeah. So as far as cleanup of this, things you could still do, like you can do things you want. If you want to spend any of the money right now, we can do hit the street. We can do any of the follow-up to the mission prior to getting into a new mission. If there's any, I don't think anyone's leveled from this. Oh, by the way, mission objectives, I've just realized. So I don't know what experience we've actually ended up marking so far, but you should. One, did any of you follow your directives and we weren't paying attention to that?
I think I followed both of mine at different times. I'll broadcast them. So I did not involve the innocent non-security personnel when Riser drove the office workers out of their office. I stopped auto-firing my assault rifle at the guards that were with them and engaged in melee instead.
Yep, and that was potentially less effective, so yeah, you can mark that one.
Okay, I think that's the one I've already marked, but I'm not sure. The other one I think was in the lobby. We didn't have to use violence as we managed to talk our way past the receptionist.
Definitely. Yeah, that was well played, so definitely mark that one. Riser, did you cover any of yours?
So mine's kind of in the air a bit, but I'll post it to you to decide. When I rallied those office workers at the promise of escape and managed to not hit any of them in the melee, would you say that count? Because I've been honorable and kept my word.
I promise
I think
I'm
you
gonna...
should. I think the honorable was actually putting the weapons that you took back to the car. Actually,
Oh, well, I already marked
them away.
that.
Ah. Okay. I mean, no. I mean, if you say, if you don't do this, I'm going to kill you, and then you kill them, I'm not sure that that really counts as honesty. I mean, yes, it's
No, but I
blunt.
didn't kill them. They did it and they survived.
Oh. Well, then you didn't follow the...
No, the code was like I told them like charge and you'll have your freedom,
Oh, I
and
see.
they didn't kill them.
And you actually didn't kill them. Sure. Yeah.
All right.
Since, like, technically you could have gotten masochistic, except it didn't do enough damage to actually do one harm, so I'm going to have to throw harder things at you guys with 2 killers.
Die real quick.
I don't know. You followed a robot that took 10 damage without dying.
Yeah, yeah. It was very well. It didn't really take all that damage. A lot of it went to armor, but it had quite a few hits. And that was kind of... It was kind of both an opportunity for Trashman to actually be able to take it over and solve that problem through that, but also an opportunity to give you something harder to fight in case that didn't happen. So, yeah. And it's also kind of hinting at something else coming up, because that's not really something that's typically seen on the street. There aren't really robots that do this in this world at this point.
Well, yeah. I know what I want to buy if we're going to do a hit the street.
Yes.
I got a question. Does taking 3 cred trigger the financial drive, risking the mission for more cash?
Oh, that is a good... Oh, yeah, Whisper. I need to see what your... Yeah, before going forward to Hit Street, then, yeah, Whisper. Your directives, what are they?
Network and financial. I'll put it in the chat.
Yeah, when your membership in agency hinders the mission, that didn't really happen, did it? When you hinder the mission for a chance at extra profit... I mean... It seems kind of cheap, but at the same time, you're being greedy and causing issues with the mission because of it. So yeah, because technically you did do that.
Every time. The long clock raises per mission.
I mean, you took the negatives with it, so you might as well get the positives too, since that's your directive. So that makes sense. Okay. And then as far as mission directives, you already marked when you accept the mission. You definitely gained physical access to the 97th floor, so mark that experience if you hadn't already. We definitely dropped the pay data, so mark that experience. And the mission ended, mark 2 experience. But should there be additional experience for the extra complications that got added? I would say just for being able to deal with the ambush and everything related to that, at least 1 experience for managing that without technically losing anybody. Yeah, so mark 1 extra experience for that.
Nice.
Cool.
And the next illustration was good. That was, I almost feel like I want to give you points just for a creative way of getting out.
For the wingsuits.
How many experience are you at right now?
I have 8.
7.
7, 8. Yeah, since
Links
it's not
give
gonna
experience.
say that again.
How does Link work again? Does it give experience after a while, or
Yeah, so after the mission links, we have to each. How does that work? I think each person chooses a person that they think they learned the most from during that mission and adds a link to them, or am I backwards? Is it the other way around?
I think that's how it works. The one that you learn the most about.
Yes. I'm pretty sure that's right. So think about that for a second while I just look it up to make sure that's how it is, but I'm pretty sure that that's right. Where? Sometimes the layout of this book is frustrating because nothing is where you
it's
would think it would
colorful?
be. Yeah, no, it's an awesome book. Just how the information is separated can be hard to find sometimes. Let's just look for links. Come on. Yeah. So think about that. I think that's how it works, and I'll probably just say go ahead and do that if I don't find this really fast. Everywhere links. Come on. At the end of each mission, each player chooses another character who, as a result of the mission, has a better idea about how your character operates. So you choose someone else who you think knows you better. Explain what
Ah, I
happened
see.
and what they now know about your character. That character increases their links with you by 1. So each of you will choose another person and say that they learned this about me, and that person will get +1 with the person who is making the choice. So, unless you want to pass, Whisper. Who learned the most about you?
I would say Trash Man, but he's not here.
Yeah, at this point, that's right. So that'll have to. So who learned the second most?
Let's see, it's mostly equal, I guess. Alright, who's been rolling me? I guess I'll go help Melee.
Okay.
Did you say Mei-Ling? Okay.
Yeah.
And why? Explain what happened and what they now know about your character. And this could be something that actually happened that we talked through, or something that happened but we didn't actually put a spotlight on it. So you could be basically making this up at this point in retrospect. So either or.
He learned that, she learned that I'm not that good of an infiltrator without counting.
So I think I learned about your limits.
I guess, for now.
Okay.
You could say, like, I have no way to infiltrate a building without a tech.
Right. Or at least seriously complicated complicated network stuff you're not the best at. So if it's something that requires a lot, you might need some backing. Okay. So Mei-Ling, take another link, or take a link or another link with Whisper.
Okay, yeah, that's my first.
All right. Riser, who learned something about you and describe that?
Alright, so correct me if I missed something, but I think it's Whisper because that's the first mission we've been on together. So it's the first time he saw me in combat.
I believe that's true, because when you escaped
killed
from
the robot.
Saifu, that was Trashman who helped you out, right? Or it was
Yeah, and I
a side
worked with
thing.
Maylin before,
Right.
but I don't think me and Whisper had any
Yeah.
shared missions.
You were indirectly related in the mission that got you out because he had something to do with the whole distraction that allowed you to, but you never directly worked together. So yeah, that makes sense.
So +1 for me.
Yeah. So Whisper, add 1 for Riser. Mei Ling, who learned the most about you, and how did they learn that?
I think Riser learned a bit about my ethical code and how it's not quite the same as his ethical code.
Yep.
Okay. So Riser, add a +1 with Mei Ling. And no one is up to +4 with anyone, right? I'm pretty sure that's
No.
impossible.
Right.
Not yet.
Okay. All right. So yeah, once you get to +4, you end up taking experience and rolling it over to 0, and then having a little scene to kind of play out that that extended understanding of each other. Okay. Anything else that's end of mission? So no one's advanced. You're all really close, but you haven't actually hit that point. What else happens?
If I can buy something, I'll do that.
Do you have a contact that you can use to hit the street with?
I didn't make a contact yet, so I can do it now.
Okay. So go ahead and declare that contact and describe them and what/who they are.
Yeah, so my contact name is Sasha. He's a procurer of many things, most of them illegal. Uh, some might say that he is a war hog or gun smuggler, arms smuggler, but he deals with many other things, smuggle many other things. I know him out of professional necessity. That's how I got my ammunition and arms and stuff.
Okay. So overall, he's like a gun dealer, weapons dealer, but he can also
He's a
get,
smuggler mostly.
yeah, smuggler. Okay. Can you? Does he mostly get things for you, or do you ever like fence things through him as well?
He's like, I mean, we have a working relationship, and sometimes I'm short on cash, so I pay with favors.
Yep. Okay. All right. So you have that. So it's Sasha. Is he? Is he at all? He's not related to Saifu, I'm assuming.
I don't think he's related to anyone, and at the same time related to everybody.
Right. So he's independent, basically.
Yeah, or he might be owned by a couple of people. Like the point is, he's kind of a necessary evil that everyone recognizes in order to keep the black market open. We need people like that.
Right. Okay. So I've added that as a contact in the journal. You can add that as your contact as well, and you can do a hit the streets with him if you like.
So I roll style for that.
Yes. And then let me know kind of what that ends up actually looking like.
So it's a success.
Okay. That's a, how much of a success? 6, 7, 8. So on an 8, you get what you want, and you also choose 2 from the list below. So it's either going to cost you extra, it's going to take time to put together, it's going to attract unwanted attention, complications, or consequences, or the contact needs your help needs you to help them out with something. And if you turn it down, you start getting negative ones with them.
So I'll say what I want, and then you'll say how much it's gonna cost, and then I will decide what I pick.
So let's do it this way. So who is Sasha? How do you contact him? Is it he or is she, actually?
It's a he.
Okay, so how do you contact him? Is this something you actually go in person to see?
Yes, he has like a workshop, like a front of a mechanic, like for cars and stuff, and he
Mhm.
works from there.
Okay, so you head to that shop, and is he the only person who works there, or is it?
No, it's a whole operation, but it's like a front for him. Like he, works at the back office or something like that.
Okay. All right, so you head in, and he's in an office, or is it like a front desk type thing?
Like a back office. Like it's not readily accessible for anyone who walks in.
Got it. All right, so you set up an appointment to meet him, or you just show up?
I just show up.
All right. So you head in, you see him, and he looks up from whatever it is he's doing, and does he look surprised to see you, or does he look like glad to see you, or just?
I think he look amused because I asked him for less than conventional arms.
Okay. All right. Riser, good to see you. So, how did the last batch work out for you?
It broke, and I throw the souls on the table.
He looks hurt. It broke? No, this couldn't have been one you got from me. My stuff doesn't break.
Oh no, don't worry, I'm not angry. I used it to real good effect.
Well, that's
I
good to
faced
hear.
something I never seen before, Sasha. Something, might I say, revolutionary.
Do tell.
It was a four-legged beast of metal.
Really? That's. Where did you see this? How big was it?
As big as a bell, wielding a gun fit to destroy carriers.
Wow. Now that is something I have not heard of yet. Where did you run across this?
I don't discuss my business. I don't ask you where you find your gear.
Of course, but I had to ask. You understand.
Of course.
So, what do you want me to do with that information?
I broke this sword, cutting through that thing's armor.
Oh, well, that might explain it. That is interesting. I'm gonna have to look into that because I know some people who may be interested in something like that.
I'm
But-
sure you'll find many buyers. The question is, can you find the product?
So back
But
to
that's
you,
not why
though.
I'm here.
Yes. Yeah. What can I do for you?
Well, facing an obstacle I never seen before, seeing the wreckage that it left in its wake, I need a new tool from you. I need something that can compete with such armor.
And what type of tool would you need? Is this something you're going to want to do up close, or from a bit more distance?
I look hurt, and I tell, do you really know me so little?
Well, I can assume, but I still, like I said, I have to ask.
I want a sword, Sasha. A sword that could carve its way through anything, like it was butter.
Well, I would have said that the one that you just put in front of me could have fit that bill, but clearly. And he, wait. I think I might have something for you. And he turns, he goes into a door behind where he is, and you hear some rustling around. You hear some stuff moving. You hear a little bit of machinery, like an irising machinery of some sort. Just and he comes back over, and he lays a small case on the half desk between you. He unclips two sides, folds it open, and inside is a... What is inside?
I'm thinking something like, I mean, I don't know how high tech we are, but maybe along the line of a lightsaber, or if we want to go low tech, like a chainsaw or something.
Okay, so I would say it's probably like a sword. Okay, yeah, I think I got it. This is something that... It's sort of a prototype. It's not heavily used, but it may do closer to what you're looking for. And looking at it, it looks just like a sword. It doesn't look like anything special. But he reaches in underneath, he pulls it up, lifts it with two hands. It's pretty heavy, so he's got to put a bit of effort. He's nowhere near as he doesn't have the grasp that you have. He doesn't have like the musculature, so it's a bit heavy. Now you understand, I cannot necessarily wield this with one hand, but it's a one-handed weapon if you can hold it. And he holds one side, but he's holding it with two hands. And he flicks a little switch on the side, and you can kind of hear like a small, like a humming of some sort. And it doesn't really look like it's changed much, but he picks up a piece of paper and he touches it to the end of the blade. And it's a single bladed, one side is bladed, the other side is flat. And he touches the paper to the blade, and it just like shears straight through it without him even pushing into it. It's extremely sharp, but a subtle vibration that actually allows it to cut even deeper and easier. This may have cut through what you just found a little more, maybe not like butter from what you're telling me about this thing, but it may be a little bit better. It's a little pricey though. So what are your... So go ahead and make a choice of the two things that you're going to choose for this.
So how much credit would it cost me without paying extra?
So typically, let's see, gear list. I'm thinking that it's gonna basically be a sword similar to what you had, but it's going to get +1, or it's gonna get armor piercing. The one you had...
That's what I'm going for, yeah.
Yeah, so it'll have armor piercing, but it also is going to be twice as much as what it would have cost. So I think it's probably 2 credit, right? Because the sword would just be 1, typically.
Alright, so 2 credit, and if I'll pay extra, it'll be 4 credit?
Yes. Yeah.
And that will leave me at 3 credit, which is not a good place to be.
And what would your other choice be? So you've got it'll cost you extra, and what's the other thing?
I mean, take a while to get doesn't make sense here, does it?
Yeah, not at this point, unless he can't give you this one. Maybe he has to actually, this one's taken, he has to get another one, maybe.
So it will either attract attention or I will owe him a favor?
Okay. I think a favor would work.
I'm asking what's the options though.
Yeah, I think that he might need something from you. Maybe. So, okay. So, yeah, this is, I think it's a very nice sword, but it's pretty pricey. I don't think I could let you have this. I mean, even just, I would be giving it away if I gave it to you for 4,000. But
Come now. Who would buy something as glorious as this? People here are so boring. No one will touch this. No one will give it the love I can.
I think I could find someone. I mean, come on, you know me. But you're here. We've got history. I think we could go. I'll tell you what. I could go as low as 3,000, which, by the way, would end up being about 3 cred. But I need you to do something for me. I don't have the details yet, so I just basically need to have you do me a favor later. And if you do that, I can give you this for 3,000.
Done and done.
Excellent. I have your. I think he knows some way of contacting you. So, yeah. So I will get back with you on the details later. But I think I have something that may allow you to put this to good use. He closes the case, flips the switches, and slides it back towards you.
I take it eagerly and will say, be fast and you might receive its first blood.
I might just do that. Pleasure to do business as always.
I
Okay.
give him a bow and leave.
All right. So you head out, and that's that. Okay. Whisper, Mei Ling, did you want to buy anything or do anything?
I don't think so for this mission, no.
Okay.
Is it possible to buy a silencer for a sniper that's loud?
As long as it doesn't also have messy. What are the traits on the sniper?
I'm gonna pull it on the chat.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
Okay,
It's
then yeah,
just loud.
you should be able to get a silencer for that. That will work. Yes, I think silencers typically are 1 unless they need to be customized, and I think the rifle that you have, as long as we can name it and give it some designation, then I'll say it doesn't need to be customized. So, what would we call a sniper rifle?
Whisper. I don't know.
Like what? I need a corporation name. Something like, it could be whatever, like RWG or Ninova, NMI, Inevan, I don't know. I'm just throwing out random words.
You want a corporation name?
Yes.
Manufacturers?
Yeah, manufacturer. It doesn't necessarily need to be a corporation we get involved in, just something that sells weapons that, and it could be even a name that's a subdivision of a corp that we already know, but I just need that name.
How about Excelia?
Excelia. Okay, like EXCELIA?
Yeah.
Okay, and this is a sniper rifle, so what would it be? Like an Excelia RX-12? I don't know. What would this... I don't know. Give me a gun name.
Just pick up that. I'll say
A7.
LRS.
LRS,
LRS 50.
LRS 50. That
Long
makes
range
sense.
sniper 50 caliber.
Okay, so LRS 50.
Silencer.
Okay, so yeah. So you've got an Excelia LRS 50, and that is a relatively common weapon, and you got universal slotting, so you can get a silencer for that. And the silencer for that will be standard cost, which I believe is 1. Gear. Assets, gear. Why does it not have cost? This is another one of those cases where I wish that... Cred... Fair prices. Basic gear from a fixer, sidearms, weapon, ammo. Yeah, I think 1 cred should get you a silencer for this find. So do you have a contact to use?
Does anyone have a fixer or that you want to use? If not, I'm just gonna say that I'll get it from EDC.
Okay, so you haven't declared a contact to this mission, right?
Not yet.
Okay, so if you want to declare an EDC contact that you can use to get this.
I guess so.
Okay, who is that?
Let's call him Joe Schmo. Something easy to remember. I might forget.
Do you need a name?
runs.
through?
Sure, if you can.
Sure. Let me. Let's say.
It's not necessarily his real name. It's like what his street name is.
Yeah. Let's. Oh, then if you want to go by that, we can do. So do you want a street name like a really weird street name like Zen Cipher?
Yeah, sure.
Or it could be okay. So either Zen Cipher or Anton Weyer or Arden
Sure,
Breton.
Anton.
Anton Weyer. Okay.
Guy. Can you type it in chat?
Yep. So that's your guy.
Do you have to roll for declare contact or no?
No roll. You can only do it once per mission for each person. So.
Right. So this guy, he runs a hot dog stand in an alley, and what I know that he does is that in the back of that alley, he has an underground bar that his family like owns a weapons dealer or something, like
Okay.
weapons smuggling.
Okay. So you contact him through the hot dog stand.
I bought some hot dogs.
Okay. So he is an EDC dealer, but he works in secret. Okay. Does he only work with EDC, or does he work with other people?
Mainly, he used to work for EDC. Now he's like doing this whole smuggling deal to get
Oh, so he's
by.
ex-EDC. Okay, so ex-EDC contact. Runs a hot dog stand in an alley and a back alley underground. Okay. Roll hit the street.
Oh, mine is 5, so I failed.
Well, it's not so much that you fail, it's just that, well, yeah.
My rolls are not on point right now.
So if you fail to hit the street, I guess you don't get what you want. So, and it also is a negative thing because someone could notice you. Alright, so you are trying to contact him, and you do. You go to the hot dog stand, he's there, but he... Alright, so you go to the hot dog stand, he sees you coming up, and he kind of pretends he doesn't really know you, so he just treats you like another person coming up off the street. Yeah, can I help you? You need a hot dog.
Yeah, I need a hot dog and a bit of something else. That's what I say.
So, some extra condiments. Want some ketchup?
No, something a bit heavier than ketchup. Know what I'm talking about, right?
Of course I do. Yeah, you want relish. I understand.
I don't think you understand.
Oh, I understand.
I show him 1,000, like 1 crit or something.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go check stocks, I guess. Let's here, come on back. Let's go see if we have any we're kind of out of mustard, so we need to go check on that. So he takes a sign, he puts it up on the stand, it says away for 20 minutes, and he turns around and heads back to the thing that you said. You said there was like a back alley, there's an underground bar?
Yeah, it's in the morning too, so there's not a lot of people, I guess. 'Cause I'm doing it in the morning.
Okay, so he heads back with that, and you follow him, I assume. And once you're inside in an area where there's just not people listening, all right. So what do you need?
You got some of those silencers for the LRS-50?
Well, here's the thing. News is you're a little hot. I probably shouldn't even have you in here. I'm not sure that I can get that for you right now. Things might come back to me.
How about I double the pay?
Ooh, well... I'll tell you what. You double the pay and you do a little something for me, and we can talk. Because then it might be worth the risk. Because it is risky right now. You got some people gunning for you. They don't necessarily know who you are, but I could tell. I could tell where the signs are pointing. And I don't want to get mixed up in that right now. You know, I got a family, I got a business I got to deal with.
Oh, don't worry about it. They'll be after me, not you.
Well, until I get mixed up with you. I start dealing you weapons on the street. I am suddenly part of the problem. I do not want to be part of the problem. My business is not being part of the problem. So.
Well, then name your offer. Name your request.
I got this thing. The guy working the street, he's kind of... He's been causing me some problems. He's got this gang, you see, and they tend to take business away. Sometimes they actually are selling cheap weapons that they're scavenged. Other times they actually just take out my customers. It's not good business to have people shot at your stands, you know? So maybe you could help me with that.
Sure, no problem.
Just one guy. Don't need him anymore. He needs to disappear. He disappears. I have no issues. So, I'll tell you what.
Can I fast talk him to something else? Like, can I fast talk him to get more gear from what he's trying to offer? More item, something else he's gonna sell.
What would you be after?
Body armor, the ones concealed.
All right, go ahead and roll fast talk.
7 barely.
9, 10. 10? Actually, that's really good.
Oh, I read it wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, 10 is a good thing. So what are you asking?
If I'm gonna do his little side thing, I get a body armor that's concealed.
Oh, whoa. Body armor too? Oh, hold on. Okay, so we were just talking about silencer
Rumors
before.
are true.
Yeah, I mean, it's good for me keeping a customer, and it sounds like you might be needing that body armor, but yeah, this guy is really a thorn in my side. All right, I'll tell you what. How much does body armor normally go for?
See, it's also 1 crit.
Basic restricted gear. Special muscle. Okay. All right. Okay, so you're asking a lot, but you do the favor for me, and you get me, say, 4,000 credits, and it doesn't have to be today. I trust you. As long as you survive, I know you'll get it back to me. But 4,000 long run, and we could have a transaction.
Deal.
All right, and that ends up being basically 4 cred.
So do I pay you right now up front or later?
Mechanically, yeah, just spend 4 cred now. Whether you're actually giving him 4,000 right now, or yeah. So you're basically promising that you will end up getting him 4,000 one way or the other, whether that be like you just flip it out right now or not. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right,
pretty
then
much.
I'll send you the details on this guy. I'll give you a dossier, but for now, and he turns back. He starts rifling through some bins, pushing some things aside. But oh no, that's not where it is. Oh shit, crap! I really need to start getting my books down. I don't. He actually pulls out a PDA, starts flipping through it. Oh yeah, we got that other shipment. Okay, he goes back into another part of the room, pulls through a few things, opens a crate, digs in, and pulls out a fairly long silencer. Walks over, hands that to you. Here we go. This will cover you there. And then he goes, finds another crate, lifts a pretty heavy set of armor, body armor, brings it over, and just like drops it on the floor in front of you. Poof. And here's that. So here you go. hot dog with relish.
Perfect.
Now, I'll get you the details on that guy, and we'll be set. And when you have a chance, you can drop the money by.
We'll hear from you soon.
Great. Pleasure doing business with you, but try to get the flies off your back.
Soon enough, I will. Thanks for the help.
Yep, no problem. And he leads you to the door with your stuff. As for high impact vibration sword. And that sword, by the way, we need to give that a brand too. And my suggestion would be like a Kafsko carbon vibration blade or something. I don't know. But anyway, so not Costco, but Kavsko. That's really hard to say without it sounding like Costco now that I think about it.
Maybe High Impact is the brand.
That could be.
HIV.
Yeah, okay. So that's everyone's hit the street. That's everyone's links. I think up to... Is there anything else that you would be doing? Like just the general laying low, things that you would do during the time between this and the time that a next mission would come up? Especially a riser. Like you, I know previously you were in hibernation between missions, so what does Riser actually do at this point when he's in off time?
Live lavishly.
Okay. Nice. Alright. So, anything else that you would do in downtime, any of you?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Then I would say we could probably call it at this point, because I have to do some rework and maybe try to get another person in. Hopefully a hacker, otherwise I'll have to rework things a bit. Or one of you could just call in a hacker contact next time. That would work too. I'd like to have 4 people in general, though.